Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session with emenne, ifeanyi. Today, I'll be sharing about a business secret from the story of Christmas. A secret that is critical for all business people to learn because it's a story that most of us have never heard before, but which, if we learn from today, can help you to protect your future, that can help you to plan very well for what you want to do, and also safeguard your future for you. Because a lot of us have been making this mistake without really realizing that we are destroying our future, or without really realizing that we are doing things that are hampering our future. Now, what is this lesson that I will say that most of us have never heard before? You know, today as I was reading the Bible, I came across a part of the Bible that said that when Jesus was about to be born, and they got to Bethlehem, that David could not find a hotel that was free where his wife could go in to give birth. Now, as I was pondering on this particular issue, I asked myself, if you have read about, maybe you have analyzed the life of Joseph, you realize that Joseph maybe would have been around 40 years. Because we know that Jesus had elder brothers, and some historians are saying that probably Joseph had an early wife who died. That was why he now had Mary. So let's give Joseph an age of about 40 to 50 years. Now, you're looking at that age bracket. It meant that Joseph was supposed to have other relatives. Joseph had cousins. Joseph had nieces, nephews, uncles. Now, how come that when Augustus Caesar asked people to go back to their town for the census, how come that when Joseph got to Bethlehem, Joseph could only go to a hotel? Now ask yourself, what happened to all his nephews? What happened to all his uncles? What happened to all his aunts? He tells us that Joseph left Bethlehem at a very early age. And for the rest of his life, Joseph did not build any relationship with his relatives. Joseph practically abandoned the people of his hometown. Joseph did not realize that sometime in his future, an opportunity might arise for him to go back to his country. And that when he goes back to his country, that his people who were there, if he had built a relationship with them, they would come up to help him. Why am I saying that this is important? Well, a few years back, there was an uncle of mine who he almost cut off all relationship with all his town people, all his relatives. Now, he cut off, and also him and his wife cut off all relationship. Because of that, along the line, this man fell sick and he died. Now, when he died, the normal thing for people from my community is that when somebody falls sick, everybody from the community normally rallies around him or her. But because this man cut himself off from his community, when he needed his community, almost nobody showed up. It took somebody who was part of the community to come in and say, see, this man needs our help. That was how they now came in, and they ran around, the community now ran around to ensure that he was given a decent burial. Now, what happened after that was that his wife now, seeing the importance of the community, now joined in and became an active member of joining the meetings of the community. I'm saying this because a lot of us have cut off our communities from ourselves. We do not know that there are times when there are important things that we need to do, but it's those relationships that we have built that we need to fall back on. Imagine what would have happened if Joseph had maintained a good relationship with people in Bethlehem. It means that when they had gotten to Bethlehem, there would not have been any need for Joseph to have been going from hotel to hotel. He would easily have gone to one of his uncles or one of his cousins and say, guy, I need a place to stay for the night. In fact, if the house were so choked, a relative would have moved out for him. But because Joseph did not take out time to build relationship with these people when there was no urgency, it means that when there was an emergency, there was nobody to call upon. How many people have you built relationship with? The people in your community, how many of them do you know? You know, there's a particular state in Nigeria called Imo State. And there's something that people from that state normally say. They say alabotu. And alabotu can be translated to mean that every place is the same thing. Now, I'm sure that if Joseph was from Imo State in Nigeria, exactly what happened in Bethlehem will happen. Because people from Imo State rarely travel to their hometown. most of us don't realize that sometime in our future, there might be things that will need people to solve for us. And when you start to build, before those needs come out, when you start to build relationship with those people, that when those needs come up in your future, that is when they can rally around you. Because look at it, when Joseph went to the hotel, at that particular point, he had the money to pay for the hotel accommodation, but money was not able to solve his problem. It means that there will be a time in your life where money will not be able to solve your problem. At that particular point, it will be the people you know, the relationship that you have built, that will come to your rescue. That is why I always insist, during my trainings, I tell people, invest in other people's emotional bank account. Go out of your way to make people, get to know people, build relationship. Go to people's houses. Don't try to tell yourself, well, I'll be visiting them. How many of them have come to visit me? I can tell you that you are doing this because you know that sometime in the future, a Caesar Augustus of your time might make a decree. And when he makes a decree, he might move you out of your comfort zone into a challenging zone. And at that zone, you might need people whose relationship you have built in the past for them to rally around you to move you forward. You know, there was something my father did when he was starting off in life. In fact, when we were young, I can really remember a time when we didn't have people around us. Then things were going around very well for my dad, and so many people were coming around him, and he was paying for fees of so many people. Now, later in life, things became difficult for him. Now, when things became difficult for him, he was one of those people who he invested in. Yes, almost every other person abandoned him, but one of those people who he invested in came up and made sure that his needs were taken care of. He got him another better job. He ran around and supported him very well. Imagine what would have happened if he had not taken time to invest in people's emotional bank account. I can tell you that even if things are very well for you now, you never can tell the plan that God has for you in future. You never can tell that if God has packaged a Jesus for you, that you need to have a proper accommodation for his birth. Who are those people who you are taking for granted now? Reach out to them, especially your families and friends. If Joseph had made arrangement to, even if it's every other year, going to Bethlehem, he would have built relationship with them. Even if it's every 5 years, Joseph goes to Bethlehem to, get to meet his people, he would have known who his uncles are, who his aunts are, such that when his wife was in need of accommodation, he wouldn't have been going to the house to the pen of a pig or to a manger where reserved for sheep and lambs. Joseph, all he needed to do was to build relationship with his community. The community where you are living in, how many people know you there? If you have a crisis on the street, how many people from your community will come out to rally around you? There was a time a man's car broke down around his community, and nobody out of that place came to his aid. But other people in that same community, when they had challenges, people would rally around them, because this other man really came out to join in the activities of the community. In my community where I stay, every month we have a monthly meeting. And I try to attend at least one every other month, because I know that there might be times when things will be critical, and it's these people in my community that will need to come right around me and help me to lift me out of my challenge. You don't know what is there in your future waiting for you. It's said that your network will determine your net worth. I can tell you that the people who you start to build relationship with today now are the people who determine where you get to in life. So, number one, build more relationship, establish relationship with your families and friends. Your brothers, your sisters, your parents, start to call them at least every other month, every other week. For me, for my relatives, at least every week, I try to get in contact with them. The next thing that you also need to do is, for your extended community, find out where they meet, especially if you're not in your village, if you're not in your local community. Find out where they meet and join their meeting. When that uncle of mine, after his death, and I saw that people almost abandoned him, that it was the immediate community, that these people from our village that came out to handle everything. It made me start to attend my village community meeting, because by that time, I had been in Lagos for more than 7 years. But when after this thing happened, I started immediately to attend the meetings of my community. I can tell you that it's important for you, if you have a community of your people, start to attend the meeting, because there are times that you need their help. There are helps that you need that money will not be issued. That what you need are people who are around you to go run around for you, to rally around you, to help you solve one or two things. Do not just think that, okay, yes, I'm making enough money. There are things that money cannot solve. Like I said, in Bethlehem, Joseph had enough money to pay for accommodation, but at that point, money could not solve his problem. Get around your people, and also start to join, look at organizations that you feel that can benefit you. You know, recently my school, my secondary school formed a group on WhatsApp, and an amazing thing started to happen from that group. We find out that when people, suddenly, most of us graduated about 20 years ago, but we found out that when any of us, over the past 6 months that we started this group, any of us that had challenges, you start to see ideas. In fact, there was one of us whose child was sick, and he just mentioned it on the WhatsApp forum. Suddenly, everybody contacted side, and somebody said he knows the doctor of the hospital where the child is, that she doesn't worry. By the next 5 minutes, the challenges he's facing in the hospital will be sorted out. In fact, one of us is getting married in the next 2 days, and we have all of us rally around to help this guy out. That is the importance of getting a community around you. Build your community. Don't just be a one-man island. Don't just feel that you are stable now, that nothing can happen in your future. It's the people you start to build around you now that can come around you in your future to help you out. Do not make this mistake that Joseph made. Joseph never realized that God will appoint him to look over a precious child or take care of a pregnant woman. And Joseph did not realize that, yes, he might feel, okay, I can take care of the pregnant woman, but he did not realize that sometime in the future, a Caesar Augustus can make a decree that will force him to move from where he was to his community. If Joseph had taken time to build up a relationship with his community, the need for him to for his child to be born in a manger would not have happened. By now, would have said, Joseph, the child, baby Jesus, was born in the house of Joseph's aunt, or in the house of Joseph's uncle. Let us not make this mistake. Our community is critical for us. Everybody is a part of a community. I also belong to a group called the Full Gospel Businessmen Fellowship. This is a wonderful group. In fact, the time I was passing through some of my difficult moments in the past, these were the group that rally around me. Yes, they might not be giving you money, but just their presence around you give you some emotional upliftment that can sustain you to go around, overcome your challenges. So, my brothers, my sister, do something about it. Find your community, build your community. Now, like I always say, I'm also trying to build a community of helping young business people to grow their business. Every Friday, we meet to discuss how to solve business challenges. So if you're in Lagos and your business is having business challenges, you can call us on 08023 622171. Take it again, 08023 622171. Or just, you can visit our website too on richnigerianpharmacies.com and subscribe to so that you can download the audios of this video. And for any other information that you might feel that, because my calling is basically to help young business people to grow their business and overcome business challenges. If you feel there's anywhere that we can come to your aid, or anywhere you feel that we can offer you assistance, feel free to contact us. Once again, thank you for listening to us, and God bless you.